Now you can introduce yourself.
All right.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
Sorry. We're doing kind of a different format today, everyone. It's Tammy. I'm behind the camera. And due to popular demand, we wanted to do Ask the Caretakers series. And today we have Jackie and Alyssa here. So I know many of you submitted questions. We're not going to get to every question on the first Q&A for caretakers, but don't worry, we'll be doing more of these. So a lot of the questions you submitted will get kind of answered for you. But first of all, I just want Jackie and Alyssa to introduce themselves, kind of a little bit about your background here at the sanctuary and kind of where you work and what zone you work in right now.
Jackie, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Jackie. I'm the caretaker for Zone 1.
And what's Zone 1 to the audience?
That's all of our hybrids and pines.
Okay,
and the
Wildcat pines. So we'll be taking the caretaker language and translating it to Facebook language. I love it.
So hard.
I know, that's okay.
And I will be, in June, I'll be a caretaker for a year. And then I was an intern for a year before that.
Awesome. And you were a lead intern as
well. For 6 months. Yeah.
Yep, awesome. Alyssa.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. So I've been here for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I started out as an intern and then went to lead and then seasonal and then permanent. So it's been a whole process. I am in charge of Zone 2, which is Roar Ridge, Feline Meadows, and Cougar Cove.
And then what do we call the new little enclosures that Anastasia and Bella are in?
Yes, so we call them Cougar Island, and then we also have Tao and Bogart who are in Roar Island.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people ask, like they love the names of the places we've named here, and one of the questions was, can we ever get a map of it? But I know in your jobs, you guys move cats around and merge cats. So Jackie, with small cats, like what are mergers like? I know you're probably dealing with Merlin, you just dealt with Lady, so talk a little bit about that.
We kind of think about the cat that just came, their behavior, and then behaviors that they will be good with. And then when we decide on that, then we will start trying to do like slow introductions. So we have a crate that we can set up, and then that will go, the new cat will go into there for a little bit. And then they'll be in the bungalow with the other cats. And we kind of have webcams and things that we watch for that. And then we can kind of see their interactions through that. And if they're good, then we'll start doing play dates. And then that's when we let them out of the crate and we see how they're interacting with each other without the wall between them.
Awesome. And have you had a favorite merger or one that makes your heart sing?
I really like Lady with Ty's group right now. They're a good one. Lady's come out of her shell a lot. So she's running around the bungalow with them and running outside just with Ty and Ledger. So they're doing really well with each other. And
can you tell us like what the cats and kind of what species or what level they are in that bungalow you just talked about?
So we have Ty, who's a F1 jungle cat. Then we have Ledger, who's a Savannah. Love, did I just say Ledger? Love is a Savannah. And then we have Lady, who's also a Savannah.
Yeah.
They're all Savannahs. I could have just except for Ty.
Awesome.
It used to be a mix.
You guys talked about what zones you're in. Alyssa, tell me, like, if people want to know, do you get to see all the cats? Do you work with all the cats? Are you stuck in your specific zone? How does that work?
No, we actually, for the most part, we do get to work with all of the cats. Especially when we're going around and doing rounds in the morning and at night. Different areas have different meds that we have to give out that can't necessarily be done with the zone lead leaving for the day because it's just too early for them. So I have been in all of the zones. I've been a zone lead for all of the zones. So we do get to interact with all of the animals throughout our day, especially with Jackie being a PM. There are certain bungalows that cannot be fed by interns just due to the behaviors of those cats. And so the other zone leads will step in and help care for those animals.
I think you touched on that we have multiple shifts here at the sanctuary. So you might be a zone lead, but you might be a PM shift because we are one of the few sanctuaries that have officially 24-hour care. We have a lot of sanctuaries that do great work and people live on site, but we actually schedule that so that we can spread out meds and we can do weather checks and things like that. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what is the most complicated cat in your zone right now?
Oh, most of Zone 2 is actually pretty good. I enjoy working with Zone 2. I would say some of our more difficult ones, personality-wise, would be Blaze and Aspen and Snow and Storm. And that's just due to the lack of socialization with people. Now, Blaze and Aspen are much, much better, like 1,000 times better, because we've been working with them. But Snow and Storm, they don't really want to interact with us, and so it's a little harder to do husbandry for those cats just because they don't want to necessarily feed when we give them food or take meds or shift. So they're probably, out of everyone, the more difficult cats.
And can you remind everyone why they're unsocialized to people?
So they are wild-born cougars, and they came to us, I think it was like 4 to 6 months of age. And so they were already living in the wild for a very long period of time. And then I know the process of catching them wasn't necessarily the easiest process, and it was kind of traumatizing. So people aren't really seen as the good guys with them.
Exactly. Jackie, I know you have some picky eaters in your group. So people ask, how do you get a picky eater to eat? And then more importantly, how do you get meds into cats, especially the smaller cats?
We kind of, when they first get here, we kind of try to figure out what they want to. So we have lots of varieties of wet food and chicken and dry. So we kind of see what they're eating, and if they kind of slow down on whatever they're eating, we'll switch it up and see if they want something else instead. And then if they're telling us that they want something else, then we'll change that. For meds, we kind of switch around a lot of different things. So recently, like Andre Savannah, he's had a lot of issues taking his meds.
And what's he on meds for?
His are for pain. So his
arthritis.
His arthritis pain. That just came out weird. Words are hard. And so his tramadol has been one that it tastes terrible. So we have to figure out ways to get him to eat it without him tasting it. So we've done a few tricks of trying to do like covering it in a pill pocket and then covering that into a chicken piece, and that worked for a little bit. Or we'll do getting it into the wet food or things like that. Right now for him, we're doing wet food with a hydro pack, which is kind of like wet food gravy, and then putting his meds in that, and then freeze-dried chicken treats on top of that. And that's working really well right now.
And I just have to say, what amazes me is when we're in huddle, how much, just even Andre, we talk about how much you've tried, how much you switched up to keep him interested in taking his meds, how challenging that can be, but making sure it's not negative for him. And I look at that as that's one of 130 cats here. And I think that's why donors give. Medications cost money. The Miracle Match right now will help with a lot of medications. We're doing that. But the individualized care that you guys put into each individual animal, as Mr. Oreo might join the live post, is truly amazing. So I know out there in the public, you guys get a lot of kudos, but really take it to heart because it seems like it's the dream job, and it is, but I know how much work and how much heartbreak can go into the job. So how do you cope with end-of-life stages? Mr. Oreo's helpful. So Mr. Oreo right now, his new thing is, I want to be held. I don't necessarily know if I want you to touch me, so I might bite your face and neck. Tell me, like, how, end of life, like, how do you deal with that? How do you cope? And how do you help cats?
So for me, there's kind of like it's a different situation each time. So a lot of times, if we know a cat has something that is a long-term disease or a long-term issue, and we're kind of giving them the best quality of life as we can, I kind of prepare as we're taking day by day. So it's a little easier for me to say goodbye.
Mr. Oreo.
With those types of situations, but with situations that are, say, unexpected, those are kind of the ones that really get me. And it's kind of like a big breakdown cry. And then it's kind of like, okay, we know that they're in a better place now.
And each, I think, team member, we handle each one differently. As we talk about, grief is not linear. Some of us get hit harder by certain cats than others, especially ones you've worked really, really hard with. And are there any is there a cat you really missed or that you think about often that passed away that makes you smile, or any stories like that, Jackie?
There's so many. I feel like I think still Wally. He's a big one that I think about a lot. And Maui. I miss having Maui around.
Maui.
Yeah, he was a fun one to have, especially going around like Hybrid Haven and everything, and just going to go say hi to him all the time.
And what made Maui so special?
I think just how much he loved everybody, and then like him crawling around your shoulders, and he just like, let me sit here. I just want to be on your shoulders.
So, Jackie, do hybrid cats prefer to relieve themselves outdoors? Or, what is like the bungalows like when we talk about territory urination?
It's kind of all over the place. So we have some cats who they do use their litter boxes. We have some who prefer outside. And then we have some who like to go on the walls and on the floor. Or there's a mixture where some of them, they'll urinate in their boxes, but then they'll poop outside. So like they kind of are all over the place.
So giving outdoor does not fix the territory urination issues. Awesome. So out of your day, Alyssa, I know there's a lot to do, but is there time to socialize with cats that want to be social, especially hybrids, or spend any time watching cat with enrichment? Like, kind of what is your workflow like?
It goes day by day. So depending on what we have to do that day, there is definitely time that we can put aside to kind of, if we're like, we want to give this cat enrichment and watch it, we're able to do that. Or if someone wants to maybe spend a few minutes with a hybrid, because we know there are some hybrids they like to be social with people, and so we do like to provide them with that. But we're also, we don't force ourselves on any of these cats. So if there is a particular big cat that just isn't fond of people, we might just back off and let them live their life the way that they should or want to, versus trying to force our interactions with them. But those cats that really like it, we do try to, socialize with them as much as we can. There's a lot of work here, but it is an important part of the day.
Jackie, before you became a caretaker, what was kind of one thing that surprised you, whether workload-wise, what the job was like?
Ooh, that's a hard. I think the biggest one was all of the construction. I didn't know that was a part of Caretakers, and I learned a lot from her. I didn't know about like all of the platforms and things that we build, and just fun things that we build for the cats.
I think people think that like contractors come in and do it all, and actually you, the volunteers and interns, build everything that those cats get to play with and do. So awesome.
Yeah, I didn't touch power tools until I came here. I was like,
so you learned power tools.
Yeah, I'm currently teaching some of our newer interns about power tools.
And what's your favorite part of the job? I know loving cats, so if I took loving cats off the table, like the task-wise, what do you like about it?
To me, the job, being able to work outside, being able to work with these animals is always a good, fun part. I've never wanted to be like sitting at a desk. To me, that's just agonizing and boring. It's just like, oh my goodness. But I like working with my hands. So like even days like today, where what I would consider my project day, I'm not necessarily doing a lot of husbandry cleaning. I'm fixing things or adding things to the enclosures, and I do actually enjoy those days a lot because it's just doing a bunch of different things at once, and your day kind of goes by really fast. But then you're also, on those days, those are the days you probably enjoy the cats more than on the ones where you're like, we got to clean everything and make sure everything looks nice. And so I really like those parts.
Awesome. I know we talked about, I'm going to ask Alyssa this again too. I know we talked about the Bengals being really picky with food, and a lot of their IBD, and I have Oreo on my head, so I don't know what might happen with my interview skills right now. But are big cats picky, Alyssa, in your zone?
Yes, they are.
Who is? Sorry.
Oh, wow. Simon and Jeremy are picky.
And how are they? Like what?
They're really picky with chicken. Oh, if you give them a chicken quarter, that is the worst thing in the world. And actually, a lot of the cats in Zone 2 are like that. So Simon and Jeremy, the Tiger Trio, Caesar and Logan, Blaze and Aspen.
So you're naming everybody in your zone.
Yes. Actually, Blaze and Aspen are probably one of the pickiest eaters. And in order to get them to kind of work with us, we have a very specific recipe for them. It's mainly beef, but cut up into little strips, and then they get a big reward chicken quarter at the end. And so, yeah, we have some definitely picky eaters.
Awesome. Well, we've heard a lot about what you guys do during the day, which is awesome. So, Jackie, what do you do outside of work?
I mean, I hang out with other caretakers. So I feel like we have a small world. We go to the movies or like going out to dinner and stuff at the like local restaurants and things like that.
The 2 local restaurants.
Yeah, the 2.
And do you have any pets at home?
I have 3. So I have a chinchilla, a rabbit, and then I just adopted a cat last week.
And do they interact with each other, or do they?
My rabbit and my chinchilla do. They sometimes get along, sometimes not. And then my cat just found out what a chinchilla is, and she's very interested in him. But she doesn't know what they are yet. She kind of just stares at him and goes, "What is in the house?"
And Alyssa, same question for you.
Oh, do I want to answer that? I have 6 cats and a dog.
Still beat you, 6 cats and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
So you need a second dog.
I know. I keep telling Bob that. I'm like, we should get another one.
So, and do you have anything at home for your cats that's similar? Like, do you take all those perches and build them perches and build them catios?
Oh, I want to build them a catio so bad. I just keep looking at the wood and then like, where can we put it? But it's definitely in my brain to build them a catio.
And would you like to show off anything new that you got and explain what it is?
Sure. Let me just take off my sweatshirt. So I know some people wonder if we get attached to the cats. We do get attached to the cats. So if anybody knows who this is Blaze and Aspen. I have very much become attached to those cats. I've worked with them a lot, and like, as I was saying earlier, they went from being completely unsocialized to wanting to come up and take food from us, and we can give them meds, and the husbandry is a lot easier for them, and I feel like they're definitely enjoying life a little more. You see them out a lot more too.
Well, and showing off a tattoo, mine is nothing like yours, but what also is special to me is we just talked about how Blaze and Aspen were the unsocial ones. They are the most difficult ones, and yet then Alyssa comes and says they are her favorite ones. And I think over and over I hear that from caretakers here is it's nice to have the ones that just come in happy, but it's the ones that need us the most, and how much work you put into them is great. Is there anything else you'd like to share with staff? And I'll see if Judson has, if other questions came up. Is there anything you'd like to share with the Facebook group of what would surprise them? Because everybody says this is the dream job. Like, is there anything about the job that is funny or that would surprise? Or like, Jackie, I know you're known for something at the sanctuary.
Falling. I was also thinking, I feel like the amount of times you'll get poop on you, that's like in the Tiger Trio's yard or Caesar and Logan's yard.
Splashed. Have you ever been peed on by a cat?
Yes.
Yeah.
The bobcats, Winona. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Judson, is there any new questions that came up?
You know, it looks like everybody was just enjoying themselves and
Awesome.
listening to how informative both of you were. So
Well,
I think that's about it.
I have one question for each of you. So everybody that's watching makes your day possible, the care you give for the cats possible. In your job, Jackie, like how do donations make a difference? And is there, what is so helpful that when people give?
It's always really nice because then we can use it for toys for the cats, and the medications that they're on, they're very important. So just that extra stuff, it helps the cats a lot.
And in your daily work, how do you see donations helping?
I am one of the ones that I love to, I call it interior designing for the cats. So I really like to build them new platforms or new hammocks or, even like the diets. Like we feed these cats so much that money going towards the diets and all of those things provide them with something that they really like is a big benefit here. It makes our job a lot easier, actually, not having to worry about that because everybody is so generous to donate.
Awesome. And I know we just moved Pandora to Roar Ridge, so people like to hear how she's doing, and she might benefit from a donation for a specific item that she doesn't have in her habitat.
Yes. So Pandora needs a pool. We're looking at getting her one of the big stock tank pools. We haven't decided on which size yet because she's so used to such an in-ground pool, and we're like, do we give her a low one or a tall one? But outside of that, she's really enjoying her new habitat. It's as if she's always lived there. And the boys, Simon and Jeremy, love being next to her too. They're very happy seeing her too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. I know you guys are really good behind the scenes, and it can be uncomfortable to be in front of the camera, but you guys deserve people to hear what you do. And thank you again, and thanks everybody for tuning in. And as you heard, your Miracle Match dollars go so far to help these ladies help the cats. So we appreciate all the donations, and thank you, Jackie and Alyssa. I'll go let you go outside and get out in front away from the camera right now.
Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome, awesome weekend.